If you ever dreamed of talking like a TED speaker, then this video is exactly for you. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you 1, 2, 3, no, not only 3, but 10 tips, 10 secrets that TED speakers use in order to own the stage, engage the audience, and inspire great ideas. And then this videos, you hear all of those tips. We look behind the curtain, see what are the tricks, so that you know what comes next. Unstoppable! Yes! Use it and you are, of course, unstoppable. But if you don't, you might see other people on the stage. But no, let's not make this happen and start right away with the very first point, which is the secret of the first 10 seconds. TED speakers, they rehearse their opening hook more than any other part. Because your first 10 seconds, they decide if people lean in or check out. TED speakers know this, so they craft openings like cliffhangers. So you don't start with, "Hi, my name is," you start with a bold statement, a shocking fact, or a story that makes jaws drop. So you heard it, the first 10 seconds, they are important. They decide if somebody leans into your story or decides, nah, let me think about my shopping I need to do, the upcoming meeting, or I'm not even listening at all. So this means specifically, when you start your next presentation at work or in a family meeting, always first think about what is something that can really draw in the attention of the audience, so that when you start talking, they already want to know, like, oh, what's going to happen next? I want to see what is the next part. Oh, I don't want to miss anything. Maybe not like this, you know me, I like to exaggerate, but I'm sure you get the idea that the way you start a presentation is already the most important thing as to whether you have your audience hooked or not. Then let's have a look at the second point, which is the power of the pause. Silence is a weapon. Here's the sneaky trick. TED speakers, they pause a lot. And that silence, it's not awkward, it's magnetic. It makes the audience lean forward, waiting for what's next. So next time, try it. Say something powerful, pause, and see the reaction, and then continue. I know the very first time this can be really awkward. Let's say you have a work meeting, which is online, and you just pause and you wait for other people to talk. And those who maybe don't really know how you're working, they might find this really awkward and they start talking just to overcome that pause. But here's the thing, this pause gives more power to the words you're saying and allows the listener on the other side just to process the information you're saying, and of course be curious about, like, what's coming next? What is the person going to say? What are you going to say? I'm curious, tell me more. I don't know, let me wait here. So you can see, using pauses are very powerful, especially, for example, when you talk. First you talk really fast, you have the pause. And it's an instant shift to the tone, the speech, the environment, the words you shared beforehand to that pause. And that actually gets people in, because if you were to speak constantly the same tone, it's like, you know, like a lullaby. So people are like going to fall asleep, but you don't want this to happen in your speech. So use the power of pauses to get your audience more hooked to your story. Point number 3, storytelling over data. What does it mean specifically? Stories, they beat stats every single time. TED speakers, they know numbers fade, but stories stick. Instead of drowning you in data, they wrap facts inside unforgettable stories. Here you have it. You want to persuade people? Tell them a story that makes them feel, and at the end, sprinkle some data on top of your story. Because here's the most important thing. We are more likely to remember emotions that we feel when we listen to somebody. But just hearing the facts, I'm sure they're not like this, but I know you get the idea. They are just boring. People will forget about it because you hear many numbers or facts throughout the day. But if you focus on also adding that sense of emotion, adding the sense of excitement, the sense of sadness, or whatever feeling you will add to your story, it sticks with people. They remember how they felt during your presentation. So for example, if you have that moment of joy and you say, yes, finally we hit that strong number. We really wanted to reach that goal of 1 million sales or whatever the goal is. People remember that you had that moment of excitement. They will internalize that moment of excitement and they remember that. So here is the thing. Always remember that if you want to convey important messages, always wrap them around a story. For example, you want to inspire your members in the company to follow and go outside of their box, challenge themselves. Tell them a story of how, for example, inspirational leaders, how yourself or how other people or known legends struggled at one point, but as they continuously challenge themselves, they are now the legends they are right now. Because then, by hearing the stories of struggle and how they really persisted throughout that moments, and now they're succeeding, people are more likely to remember that. So that next time you want to challenge them, remember to wrap it around the story and then sprinkle the numbers on top, because that's what people are more likely to remember, the emotions. And if you have the emotion connected to the data, boom, that's one magical trick you can have in order to persuade. Point number 4, which is the secret script. They script emotions and not words. Here's the twist. TED speakers, they don't memorize every word. They memorize the emotional beats. Excitement here, vulnerability there, humor right after. That's why they sound natural, because they're following a rhythm and not a script. And that is indeed a very powerful move. Because here's one thing I personally learned as well. When I started presenting speeches, I was writing down a script and I tried to memorize word by word by word by word so that I really stayed true to the script and I don't forget anything. And because then I know I followed my script, I'm good, I achieved. But here's the thing. Over time, I learned that it's not about rehearsing a script and be perfect on the script, because here's the thing. Your audience never knows the script that you have prepared. They only know the story that you shared with them, how you made them feel in the moment of presenting. This means specifically just focus on the key points that you want to share with your audience, the key points that you want to inspire your audience with, the key points you want your audience to take away. Specifically, this means then also when you rehearse, focus on the key elements you have for each paragraph. And instead of rehearsing each word because it just sounds so good, when you use that specific word, it sounds so sophisticated. But here's the thing, if you use those fancy words, but you cannot convey the message you want to share from within, it's not going to be helpful. That's why focus on the emotions, the stories you want to share in order to draw your audience in. Because here again, it adds up to the previous point. If you have the story and you focus on putting in the emotion, you sprinkle in the emotion as well, you're more likely that people remember the story that you want to share with them. So remember, it's not about having fancy words and following the perfect script, because guess what? Nobody remembers that. I don't think, if you think back, do you ever remember somebody was presenting and saying like, oh yes, they used so fancy words, wow, that was so good. No, you always remember the stories they shared, the emotions you felt. So take that away also for your next presentation, to think about the kind of emotions, the kind of key takeaways you want to share in each of the paragraphs of your speech. Point number 5, the gesture hand hack. Gestures, they are choreographed. Ever notice how TED speakers' hands seem perfectly timed? That's no accident. They practice gestures like actors. Open palms for trust, pointing for emphasis, sweeping arms for big ideas, and your body is part of the speech. Oh yes, you heard correctly. Because let's say I would just talk like that and continue following my script or the thoughts that I want to share with you. I think after a few seconds, you'll be already completely bored. But if I add now gestures, if I add gestures, also facial expressions, you will already have some more excitement listening to the story, because the gestures that you're using, they underline the message that you want to share. Yes, they definitely do. Because let's say I want to show excitement, but I think this would be a bit challenging for me, but let's say you want to show excitement when you say, yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to share the stories with you. I doubt that you feel really the excitement, but if I use gestures and say, yes, I am excited to share it with you. I'm excited to share with you the 10 tips that TED speakers use. You can already feel the difference. And it means that it doesn't need to be choreographed, that when you say hi and you remember, oh yes, I need to raise my hand and wave. No, really think of it as a natural way that you use your hands for underlining things. So for example, you want to encourage trust. I would not talk like that, because if you have your arms closed, it shows closeness. But instead, if you open your hands, you show palms, you show your hands openly, it shows, listen, I'm open for anything that's coming my way. And you see the list is long of different gestures that you have. Have a look. And I'm sure there will be a video upcoming, but that's not for now. Even think of body language as a way to even further emphasize what you're sharing. Then let's have a look at point number, 6, which is about the outfit strategy. Oh yes, clothes are chosen to amplify the message. TED speakers don't just throw on a blazer, they pick outfits that speak. Bright colors for energy, simple lines for authority, no distractions. Your outfit is your silent co-star. I'm sure you can relate to that. Sometimes you have an outfit that you just feel like, yes, that is my power booster. Whenever I wear it, I'm unstoppable. And that's the same thing that you can apply for a next speech. Think about, what kind of image do you want to portray? Do you want to seem professional? Do you want to see joyful? Do you want to be colorful? Do you want to be energetic? You see, there is a long list of different items, but pick what specifically you want to display. Point number 7, the rehearsal illusion. They rehearse endlessly, but make it look effortless. Here's the dirty secret. TED speakers, they rehearse dozens of times, but they add tiny imperfections like a laugh, a stumble, so it feels real. Effortless authenticity is actually carefully rehearsed. So here you have it. Being a TED speaker, it's not something that just happens like that. No. When you see somebody on stage and performing like a superhero, really inspiring audiences, this is not the result of just one-time practice. No. Instead, this is a result of continuous practice, continuous exercising, rehearsing, refining the script here, refining the script there. Maybe this doesn't match, so poof, we put it out, we put something else in. And you can see that in order to be inspiring on stage and pull the audience into your story, take it as a matter of practicing beforehand. One thing that I've seen mentoring different speakers is that sometimes people expect you write your speech, you practice 2-3 times, and wow, hooray, it's going to be the perfect speech. Here's the thing, the work that you input for preparing your speech is also going to be the result you're getting. This means specifically, if you practice just 3 times, don't expect to have an amazing speech. No, practice helps you to fine-tune certain parts here and have that outstanding speech that you're aiming for. This means if you want to present flawlessly, if you want to inspire your audience, if you want to encourage people, use some time also to practice, to rehearse your speeches so that you can be sure that whatever you want to share, you can convince it with the energy you're aiming for. Point number 8 is the audience plan. Oh yes, TED speakers, they often have allies in the crowd. Watch closely. TED speakers sometimes have friends in the audience who nod, smile or laugh at the right moment. That energy spreads like wildfire. Want instant confidence? Bring your hype squad. Yes, and that makes sense, right? If you know somebody you care about is in the audience, you already feel more supported, and maybe part of the stress, the nervousness just poof goes away, because you know there are those people who are there supporting you in the audience. One thing I like to do is sometimes also just look into the audience and pick one person and think already, wow, I'm sure I'm going to help that person. And here's the cool thing, is then I have that thought in my head that this person really is longing for that kind of information I'm going to share. And then the cool thing is, at the end of the presentation, sometimes they come to you and say like, wow, thank you so much, you really helped me. So that's something you can also try out. If you don't know anybody in the audience, pick somebody in the crowd, just in your mind, and already think about it. You pour all your love, all your information, all the care for the topic you're sharing just to that one person or the other people. Maybe not only one, but 2, 3, 4, 5, you name it, whatever works for you. But for me personally, it worked with one person. Then maybe I extend it to a few more people. Point number 9, the emotional roller coasters. TED speakers design speeches like movies. TED Talks, they rise, they fall like roller coasters. Funny, then serious, then inspiring. That emotional rhythm keeps you hooked. Flat speeches lose people. Roller coaster speeches make them binge watch. And that's something we already spoke about beforehand, that if you're just very monotonous and you keep on talking in the same pace, you're going to lose your audience because it's going to get very boring. But if you think about what kind of stories you can tell that excite people, that maybe people fall, like, oh God, is this person going to succeed in their story? You have this kind of roller coaster emotion. That is something that is going to hook people. It's like in a movie, they want to hear the story, having a popcorn. Wanting to know, like, okay, what is going to be the next step? Then, last but not least, here we go to point number 10, which is the standing ovation formula. TED speakers end with a call to action that feels personal. This means the finale. TED speakers end with a challenge. Not, thank you very much, but now it's your turn. They make the audience feel like heroes stepping into the story. That's how you earn the standing ovations. Oh, you heard that correctly. That's a very nice thought. Think about it. When you share a story, already pull the audience into the story so that they feel they're going to continue the story that you shared with the listener, with them. So for example, this can be a call to action. What are you going to do next? All right, here we have it. Here are the 10 tips that TED speakers use in order to inspire audiences. And here's the thing, use it and you'll be unstoppable. But if you don't, you might see others already on the stage stealing the spotlight. But let's all make this happen and work on your presentation skills so that you can inspire a lot of people with the stories that you have to share. This means now comes the call to action. Try out at least one of those tips and see how people just lean into your story and wanting to hear more of it. Let me know in the comments how this turned out for you and which points you liked the most. I'm curious to hear from you. Bye! And remember to subscribe to the channel so you can hear more of those tips. Speak to you soon. Bye! The first 10 seconds are important as to getting your audience draw into the attention. As to getting your attention into the audience. No! Shut the door. Out. The key points you want your audience to take away with them. Sweeping ideas for big arms. No. Sweeping ideas for big arms. Again. TED speakers. That it matches the role. Yeah, let me just cut it out, Louisa. Cut. Got it. Perfect. Awesome.